Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I am Tom, and I am sitting here today with my wonderful co-host, Ria. How are you doing today, Ria?
I am doing fantastic, Tom. Honestly, I am feeling really energetic today. The sun is shining, I had a great coffee this morning, and I am just really excited to dive into today's topic. It is a big one.
It really is a big one. It is actually something that I think every single person listening to this podcast has struggled with at some point, probably even today.
Oh, absolutely. I know I have struggled with it. Even native speakers struggle with it. But for our listeners who are learning English, this topic is like the final boss in a video game.
That is such a great comparison, the final boss. Because you can study grammar books all day, you can memorize vocabulary lists until your eyes hurt, and you can watch movies with subtitles. But none of that matters if you freeze up when you have to actually use it.
Exactly. You can have perfect grammar in your head, but if you cannot open your mouth and connect with another human being, the language stays locked inside you. So today, we are talking about how to talk to anyone. And I mean anyone. A stranger at a bus stop, a colleague at a coffee machine, or someone you meet at a party.
I get nervous just thinking about it. You know, I'm an introvert, naturally, right? So for me, walking up to a stranger is scary enough, but doing it in a second language, that takes a level of bravery that I think we do not talk about enough.
It is incredibly brave. We need to acknowledge that first. If you're listening to this and you're trying to speak English with strangers, you are a courageous person. You are stepping out of your comfort zone. But Tom, let me ask you, when you think about talking to someone new, what is the first fear that comes into your mind?
Oh, that's easy. I'm afraid of looking stupid. I'm afraid that I will run out of things to say and there will be this horrible, painful silence where we just stare at each other. And if I'm speaking a second language, I'm afraid they won't understand my accent or I'll use the wrong word and offend them.
The fear of the awkward silence. That is universal. It's the monster in the room. But you touched on something really important there. You said you're afraid of looking stupid. This brings us to the first big mindset shift we need to talk about. We call it the spotlight effect.
The spotlight effect. I've heard of this. This is the idea that we think everyone is looking at us much more closely than they actually are, right?
Exactly. When we're speaking a new language, we feel like we're on a stage. We feel like there's a giant spotlight on us, and the other person is a judge, holding a scorecard, marking down every grammar mistake and every hesitation. But the truth is, the other person isn't thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
That sounds a bit harsh, Ria. They aren't thinking about me at all?
I mean it in the most comforting way possible. They are worried about their own impression. They're wondering if they have spinach in their teeth or if they're being boring. Or they're just thinking about what they need to buy at the grocery store later. They're not analyzing your English. They're just trying to get through the interaction comfortably.
That's actually a huge relief. So if I make a mistake, they probably won't even remember it 5 minutes later.
They won't remember it 5 seconds later. Think about the last conversation you had with someone learning your native language. If they made a grammar mistake, did you judge them? Did you think they were stupid?
No, of course not. I usually just focused on what they were trying to tell me. I was rooting for them. I wanted to understand them.
Precisely. And that's how 99% of people feel when you talk to them. They want to connect. So step one is taking that pressure off yourself. Turn off the spotlight. But Tom, let's get practical. Let's say I'm at a coffee shop. I'm standing in line. There's someone next to me. I want to practice my English. How do I even start?
This is the hardest part, the opening line. I usually just pretend to look at my phone because I don't know what to say.
Put the phone away, Tom. The phone is a shield. You have to lower the shield. The best way to start a conversation is to use what's right in front of you. We call this situational context. You don't need a clever pickup line. You just need to observe something you both are experiencing.
Okay, so if we're at the coffee shop and the line is really long, I could talk about that?
Yes, simple is better. You turn to them and say, "Wow, it's busy in here today, isn't it?" That's it.
That sounds almost too simple. It's busy in here today? Is that enough?
It is enough Because it is an invitation. It is a low-pressure invitation. You aren't asking them for their life story. You are just opening the door. If they grunt and look away, okay, they don't want to talk. No big deal. But if they say, yeah, I think everyone needs caffeine this morning, then boom, you are in a conversation.
I like that. It is low risk. If they reject my comment, it doesn't feel like they're rejecting me personally. They're just rejecting the comment about the line.
Exactly. And once you've opened that door, you have to keep it open. This is where most English learners panic. They think, oh no, they answered. Now what do I say?
Right, the panic sets in. My mind goes blank. I forget every English word I've ever learned. What is the strategy there?
The strategy is to stop trying to be interesting and start trying to be interested.
Wait, say that again? That sounds profound.
Don't try to be interesting. Be interested. People love to talk about themselves. It is the favorite topic of every human being on Earth. If you can get the other person talking about their life, their opinions, or their day, you are winning. And the best part for English learners is that if they're talking, you don't have to.
That is a brilliant hack. So I'm taking the pressure off my speaking skills and using my listening skills instead. But how do I get them to talk?
You need to become a detective, a curious detective. Let's go back to the coffee shop example. The person said, yeah, everyone needs caffeine this morning. You can look at them and be curious. You could ask, are you starting a long day at work? Or do you have a big project today?
I see. I'm taking their answer and digging a little deeper. I'm looking for clues.
Yes, follow the clues. Most conversations die because people just make statements back and forth, like playing tennis but catching the ball every time instead of hitting it back. If they say, I'm tired, and you say, I'm tired too, the conversation is dead. But if you ask, why are you so tired? Did you have a late night? You hit the ball back.
That makes sense. It's about open-ended questions, questions that cannot be answered with just a yes or no. Who, what, where, when, why, and how.
Especially why and how. Those are the magic words. How did you get into that line of work? Why did you choose to move to this city? Those questions open up stories, and stories are where the real connection happens.
I want to play devil's advocate for a second here, Ria. What if I ask a question and they start talking really fast? They use slang, they use phrasal verbs, and I get lost. I only understand maybe 50%. Do I just nod and smile?
This is a classic trap, the nod and smile. We've all done it. You have no idea what is happening, but you just keep nodding like a bubblehead doll.
And then they ask you a question and you just laugh awkwardly. It's a nightmare.
It is, and it kills the connection because people can tell when you're not really with them. Here's the secret. It's okay to interrupt. In fact, it's better to interrupt.
Really? Isn't that rude?
Not if you do it the right way. If you say, wait, I'm so sorry, English is not my first language and I missed that last part. Could you say it again? Almost everyone will immediately slow down and help you. They will actually respect you for it more.
That is true. It shows confidence. It shows that you care enough about what they're saying that you want to understand it properly. You're not just faking it.
Exactly. It changes the dynamic from speaker and listener to partners in a conversation. You're working together to understand each other. And honestly, vulnerability is attractive. Admitting you need help makes you more human and likable.
I love that word, vulnerability. We often think that to talk to anyone, we need to be this perfect, polished, charismatic version of ourselves. But actually, people like us more when we're a little bit messy, a little bit real.
100%. Think about the people you like talking to. Do you like the person who brags about how great they are and uses perfect fancy words? Or do you like the person who laughs at their own mistakes and makes you feel comfortable?
Definitely the second one. The first one makes me feel inferior. The second one feels like a friend.
So be that friend. If you stumble over a word, laugh about it. If you forget the word for umbrella, just say, the thing that stops the rain. Make it a game. People will want to play that game with you.
Let's talk about body language for a moment, because we're talking about voice and words, but so much of communication is visual. Especially when I'm nervous, I tend to cross my arms or look at the floor.
Oh, body language is huge. It is the signal you send before you even say a word. If your arms are crossed and you are looking down, you are wearing a sign that says, do not disturb. You have to consciously open up.
So, uncross the arms, look people in the eye.
Eye contact is powerful. In some cultures, I know, it can be seen as aggressive, but in English-speaking cultures, it is essential. It means, I am listening to you. I see you. But don't stare. Don't look like a serial killer. Just natural eye contact. And the most important tool? The smile.
It sounds cliché, doesn't it? Just smile. But it really changes the tone of your voice, doesn't it?
It does. You can hear a smile, even on the phone. If you walk into a room smiling, you are signaling that you are friendly and safe. It makes people want to talk to you. It triggers a mirror response in their brain. If you smile, they instinctively want to smile back.
So we have the smile, the open body language, and the opening line about the situation. We're asking why and how questions. But what about when we want to move past the small talk? How do we get to the deeper stuff without being weird?
That is the transition. You can't just walk up to someone and ask, what is your biggest regret in life? That is too much, too fast. You have to build a bridge. We often use the Ford method. Have you heard of Ford?
Ford, like the car?
Like the car. It stands for family, occupation, recreation, dreams. These are the 4 pillars of conversation. You usually start with recreation or occupation because they're safe. What do you do for work or what do you do for fun?
Okay, so that's the safe zone.
Right. But then you can pivot to dreams. That's where it gets interesting. If someone says, I'm an accountant, you can ask, oh, have you always wanted to be an accountant? Now you're asking about their history and their dreams. Or if they say they like hiking, you ask, what is the most amazing mountain you hope to climb one day?
I see the shift. You're taking a fact about them and turning it into an aspiration. You're asking about what drives them.
Yes. And when people talk about their passions or their dreams, their eyes light up. They speak more fluidly, and you get to see who they really are. And here's a tip for our listeners. When someone is talking about something they love, that's the best time to just listen and learn. You'll learn so much vocabulary just by listening to someone explain their hobby.
That's a great point. I remember once I started talking to a guy about gardening. I don't know anything about gardening, but he was so passionate. He taught me words like soil, fertilizer, blossom. I learned them because they were connected to his emotion.
Emotion is the glue for memory. You remembered those words because you had a connection with him. If you had just read them in a list, you would have forgotten them.
I want to address something that stops a lot of people, the fear of being boring. Sometimes I feel like I live a very normal life. I go to work, I come home, I watch TV. I feel like if I talk to someone, I have nothing exciting to share.
Tom, normal is relatable. You don't need to be an astronaut or a movie star to be interesting. The most interesting things are often the shared human experiences. Talking about a funny thing your cat did, or a recipe you tried that failed miserably, or how much you hate traffic. These are things everyone understands.
So it's about finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Beautifully put. It's about how you tell the story. You can say, I went to the supermarket. That's boring. Or you can say, I went to the supermarket and I saw the weirdest fruit I've ever seen, and I didn't know how to eat it. Suddenly, it's a conversation.
It's the enthusiasm. If you're interested in your own life, other people will be too.
Yes. Own your story. Even if your story is just that you're learning English. That's a great conversation starter. I'm learning English, and today I learned this idiom that makes no sense. Can you explain it to me? People love to be experts. If you ask a native speaker to explain their own language, they will talk for 20 minutes.
That's such a good hack. It strokes their ego a little bit. Oh, you're the expert, help me.
Exactly. And it takes the pressure off you to be perfect. You've already framed yourself as the learner, so mistakes are expected.
I think we also need to talk about how to end a conversation, because sometimes you're talking and it starts to die down, and then there's that awkward moment where you don't know how to walk away. I've stayed in conversations for 10 minutes too long just because I didn't know how to say goodbye.
The exit strategy. This is crucial. You want to leave on a high note, not when you have both run out of words and are staring at your shoes.
So, how do we do it politely?
There are simple formulas. The future mention is a good one. You say, "It has been so great talking to you. I really need to get going to," and you mention where you're going. "I need to get back to work," or "I need to find my friend."
Simple, honest.
And then you validate the interaction. This is key. You say, "I really enjoyed hearing about your hiking trip." Be specific. It shows you were listening.
It was great meeting you, Ria. I really loved hearing about your gardening. I have to run to catch my bus now, but have a great day.
Perfect. I feel good, you feel good, and there is no awkwardness. And if you want to see them again, that is the moment to ask. We should continue this sometime. Do you have Instagram or WhatsApp?
That brings up the digital aspect. Is it easier to talk to anyone online, or is it harder?
It is different. Online, you have time to think and type, but you lose the body language, you lose the tone. I always encourage our listeners to prioritize face-to-face or voice conversations. You need that real-time pressure to really grow.
It's like working out muscles. Typing is like lifting light weights. Speaking in real time is the heavy lifting. It's harder, but it builds the muscle faster.
And the muscle is confidence. That's really what we're talking about today. It's not just about vocabulary, it's about the confidence to say, "I'm here, I have a voice, and I deserve to be heard, even if my grammar isn't perfect."
I think that's the core message. You deserve to be heard. Your accent, your mistakes, your pauses, they're part of you, and you're interesting.
I want to share a quick story about a student of mine. He was terrified of speaking. He went to a party and stood in the corner for an hour. Finally, he saw someone wearing a t-shirt of a band he liked, just a rock band. He debated in his head for 10 minutes. Should I say something? What if I say it wrong?
The internal battle. I know it well.
Finally, he just walked over, pointed at the shirt, and said, "Great band." That was it. 2 words. And the guy wearing the shirt lit up and said, "Right? Have you heard their new album?" And they talked for an hour. My student didn't speak perfect English. He used his hands, he used simple words, but they connected over the music.
That's amazing. It started with 2 words. Great band. We often overcomplicate it. We think we need a monologue. We just need a spark.
Just a spark. And remember, the other person is human too. They might be shy. They might be lonely. They might be hoping someone talks to them. By speaking up, you might be making their day better too.
That's a lovely perspective. You're not imposing on them. You're offering them a connection. You're giving them a gift.
The gift of attention. It's the rarest and most valuable gift in the modern world. Everyone is on their phones. Everyone is distracted. If you look someone in the eye and really listen to them, you are giving them something precious.
So, Ria, if our listeners want to start today, they finish this podcast, they take out their headphones, what's the one small step they can take?
The one small interaction challenge. Today, I want you to have one interaction that you wouldn't normally have. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. It can be saying good morning to the bus driver. It can be asking the cashier, "How is your shift going?"
Just one extra sentence.
Just one extra sentence. Push the boundary just 1 inch. And then notice how you feel afterwards. You might feel a little heart rate spike, but you will also feel a buzz. That buzz is growth.
And don't beat yourself up if it goes wrong. If you say good morning and it's 8 p.m., laugh about it.
Laugh! Please laugh. Humor is the universal language. If you can laugh at yourself, you become bulletproof. No one can hurt you if you are already laughing.
I think that's the best advice we can give. Be brave, be curious, and be willing to laugh.
Tom, before we go, I have a question for you. Who is the most interesting person you've ever talked to just by chance?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. I think it was an old man on a park bench in London. I just sat down to tie my shoe. He was feeding the pigeons. I made a comment about how aggressive the pigeons were.
The classic pigeon opener. It works.
He ended up telling me he used to be a clockmaker. He repaired antique clocks. He talked about how time feels different when you are fixing it versus when you are just living it. It was profound. My English was okay, but his philosophy was deep. I would have missed that if I had just tied my shoe and walked away.
See? You uncovered a hidden world just by commenting on pigeons. Every person is a walking library of stories. You just have to open the book.
Every person is a walking library. That is beautiful. And we, as English learners, have the key to open those libraries. The key is simply hello.
It is. And to our listeners, we know it is hard. We know your heart races, but we believe in you. You have so much to say, and the world needs to hear it. Don't let fear silence your voice.
Real English isn't about textbook perfection. It's about real connection. It's about messy, wonderful human moments.
So go out there, be a detective, smile, and remember, the person across from you is just a person. They are not a judge.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope this gives you that little push you need to start that conversation.
We're cheering for you. Let us know how your one small interaction goes. We would love to hear your stories.
Until next time, keep talking, keep listening, and keep connecting.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.